Hello, Living Dead Dolls fans. This is Josh, aka Doggiepants, and I'm coming at you by myself to continue my series reviews. We're on series 15 now. I know that I was expecting to have series 29 by now, but I don't yet. So there's just a little bit of a hold up, so I'm getting them on Tuesday, which is awesome. I'm very excited. So next week I'll have a review of those as well, so you'll be able to see those. But for now, because it's the weekend and I'm kind of free, got nothing going on, I figured, well, I guess I'll just do a review from the series dolls. So yeah, let's get started. Series 15 is interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, Series 15 is the first series where they actually had two boy dolls, if you consider Death a boy doll. I guess it could be like non gender specific, which is totally cool. But regardless, it's always been clearly laid out. Either 5 girl dolls, which is kind of rare, but mostly 4 girl dolls, 1 boy doll. Series 15, though, had 2. And interesting enough, it wasn't a super popular series. There's one doll that's pretty popular from it, but the rest of it wasn't super, super popular, but they're still pretty cool. We'll get to those in a minute. The other interesting thing is there are variants of this set. So I'm not going to show you the variants, but if you want to take a look, they have completely different outfits. They're very cool. The Bathory one is not drenched in blood. She's just sans blood, I guess, which is also very cool. The other thing is that all of the dolls came with an accessory, which I'm just going to show you one because it would just take far too long to show everything. And basically, here it is. I'm going to show it before we even get into the doll reviews. Each doll, well, 4 of the dolls, came with a piece of like a Ouija board. And here's what it looks like. So this would be the top left corner of the Ouija board, right? So in each corner, it had a hand-drawn version of the doll that it came with. So this one is Flamingo. So in each corner, you're going to see, a hand-drawn version of the doll, and then it is a piece of a Ouija board that says Living Dead Dolls in the middle. What's interesting about this is it's a sticker, because obviously it curls, so it's going to be hard to put them together. You'd have to get some sort of a board that you put the stickers on, then line them up and make them all perfect. I don't do that because I like to keep my dolls complete as much as possible, so these just kind of hang out in the coffin. But it's cool. You can put together a Ouija board. And then in Death's back of his coffin, he's got the actual pointer for the Ouija board, and this is what it looks like. It's just a piece of plastic. There's a hole in the middle. There's no glass or anything, but that's where you're going to see the letters. Sulfur symbol at the top, and then the drawn version of Death. It's a really cool thing, This is the first time they did anything like this, and I remember when they first released it, there was kind of a teaser video of Damien using the board and the pointer kind of moving by itself, which was super cool. Yeah, but that's it. Let's start looking at the dolls, shall we? First, I'm going to show you the coffin. Take off the plastic so you can get a better look without glare. This is the coffin. It's pretty standard black coffin, no handles. There is, again, they've kind of stuck to that very slight hint of a grain in the black, but really kind of hard to see. It has like a red tissue. It's not quite the pink that we've seen on a lot of the Living Dead dolls, but it's not a very vibrant red either. And then the chipboard is a pretty simple chipboard. It just says their name. It has the little pointer for the Ouija board up here in the corner, some sulfur symbols, and then the poem. In the back, there's kind of, I don't know what that is, just kind of like a little bit of texture, I guess, in the back, but doesn't seem to be any kind of a specific image. But it does say yes and no on the sides of the chipboard, which I thought was kind of cute. But yeah, that is the coffins. So there we go. Like always, I'm going to start with my least favorite doll and go to my favorite of the series. Probably not surprising. For most people, my least favorite is Judas. Judas is the first boy doll of the series, and I don't dislike Judas. He's grown on me as the years went by. When he first came out, I was like, not really feeling this one. But he is interesting. His design's pretty nice. Let's take a look at his outfit. So he's got pretty standard Living Dead dolls shoes. They're black shoes. He does have socks. Over top, he's got this, obviously he's like a little altar boy in the Church of Satan, I guess. But here I'm going to give you kind of a close-up shot. So it has this nice little detail around the bottom with sulfur symbols, and that same detail is around the arms. And then there is a sulfur symbol right there in the center. It is kind of a blouse feeling. but it's just a regular cotton, and it looks like, the things that altar boys wear. Underneath this shirt has no Velcro, you're going to see either. It has to go up and over his head, which is a little difficult to take off. Underneath this piece, we have, it's made out of felt, but it's kind of a bit of a long robe. There's a long sleeve. You can see him coming out there, and it has a very high neck on it. But this piece is separate from the red, and it is separate from the pants as well. So there's 3 separate pieces on this doll, which I think is actually pretty nice. It Velcros right up here in the front. You're definitely not going to be able to see that in the video, but I can kind of show you how you can open this piece. It does come off. And he's got pants underneath. They're pretty standard Living Dead doll, black pants with a little bit of Velcro in the back to get them on. So the outfit is actually pretty nice, pretty detailed. He does partner nicely with, Bad Habit and Sinister Minister, which is pretty cool if you want to display them in kind of a religious setting. But yeah, that is his outfit. So let's take a look at his face paint. I'll hold him up close for you. There he is. He has a really intense, hardcore eyebrow that goes straight across. He's been up for like 6 days straight, so he's got some bags, like nobody's business under his eyes there. His eyes are red. The whites of his eyes are actually yellow. And then his lip does have a little bit of detail on it too. It's got, around his eyes and his lips, there's a little bit of black airbrushing. I'm going to try to get it nice and close so you can see that. So that is a nice detail. His mouth has a little bit of lines. You know how we've seen the lines on his lips for the Living Dead dolls before? But that's what it's like. Where he goes a little astray for me is the weird, awful haircut that he has. Like, I feel sorry for this guy. I don't know if they were going for kind of like I don't know what they were going for, frankly, because it seems like all of his rooting comes out right off the top of his head, and nobody's part on the top of their head is horizontal like that. You know what I mean? It usually goes the other direction. So it just seems a little strange. Like his hair all seems a little strange. It's not super thickly rooted. It's kind of cool because you can make his hair look a little messy, and he looks a little scary. But again, not my favorite doll, and the rooting doesn't go very far down in the back of his hair, so he definitely just comes across as a little strange. But that is Judas. So next up, funny enough, which some people may not agree with me, but it's Death. Let me pull his hood up because his hood does like to fall down. Here he is, the other boyish doll of the series. He's just very simple. Like I think he's interesting. It was an interesting concept, and this is the first Death that they ever did. Now we've seen, Death. We've seen the variant for him. We've seen the mini, which was part of the Christmas Carol set. Then we saw the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Death. And then we saw Kiss of Death this last year as the Valentine exclusive. So they've just had so many versions of him. And the thing with the versions of him is that there hasn't been a lot of difference between all of the versions of them. So it just feels like the same doll's been coming out a lot. And maybe that's kind of tainted why I put him so low in the list of dolls. Because I think when I first got him, I liked him a little bit more. But who knows? Yeah, but this is Death. His outfit is gosh, I never know this material. It's like a fake velvety kind of material. But this is all one piece, and there is no Velcro on this piece. So it seems like they put the outfit on him and then popped the head in afterwards. So you're not going to be able to take this piece off. It's definitely on him for good. He does not wear shoes, so there's no shoes on him, but he has some great painting details. And I'm going to pull this up to show you that the skeleton painting does not go all the way down his body. So we only see it on his arms and his head, which is fine. It's not a big deal. The robe covers everything else. But the arms, there are really nice painting. There we go. Both on the top side and the underside, there we go, of the arm. So the painting does, it's pretty nice little detail there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. super, super cool. There's both hands. This hand is curved to hold his accessory, which we'll get to in just a second. And then we have his face. And the face is a really nice paint job. So that's all drawn on. There's nothing that's part of the mold in this skull. It's all just straight paint. This paint job, obviously, we've seen on all the other deaths as well. Maybe a slight variation on it, but for the most part, it's there. But yeah, so he's got drawn on teeth, a lot of shadowing to make him look like a skull. His eyes are just black. I'm going to give you kind of a 360. There we go. There's like a little bit of a crack in the back of the skull. His head, because of the mold of Living Dead dolls, does have a little ring around the top. There's not the hole that we've seen on some of the other dolls that are bald, but this one does still have that kind of round, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Kind of problem with from the mold. Whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but that's his face paint. His hood does, because it's that material likes to slip down really easily. So just be aware that you may have to constantly kind of put it up there to keep it on display. His outfit does have some frays that I've had to cut off quite a bit. There you go, you can kind of see some. So be aware of that. The last thing that I want to mention about him is he does come with an accessory. He's the only doll that comes with an accessory from this series, but the accessory is on point. Good job, Mezco. Bam! Look at this scythe, man. It's incredible. So it's a giant piece of plastic, and it barely fits in the back of the coffin. It has kind of this nice curvature to it, so it actually looks totally legit. And it has this lovely blade. Here we go. I'm kind of turned around. And this piece does fit nicely into his hand. There we go. So he can hold his accessory. The only thing is, because it's such a large accessory, it does tend to make him a little top heavy, so he wants to fall forward. So I've used it almost as like a third leg sometimes if I want to display him with it. There we go. So that his weight can be rested on the bottom of the scythe as well. So, but there he is. Bam! Death! A lot of people may disagree with me that he's only second, especially because I talk so long about him. But I don't know. I just, Death's not my favorite. But the accessory, on point. All right. So that is Death. Next up we have Flamingo. Probably one of the simplest dolls they've ever made, in my opinion. And she's grown on me, definitely, as the years have gone by. A lot of people were just like, this doll is so simple. I don't really understand it. But I think she's cute. I dig her. Yeah, let's talk about her outfit. She has standard Mary Jane black shoes. She's got white socks. And then she has this very simple dress. So it's black and white. Looks like kind of a picnic cloth material. What is that? Gingham? Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know. Wow, the lighting is very bright in this one. There is a little bit of a pink ruffle that goes around the top of her dress. And it goes all the way around. There is this nice little black ribbon that goes around her waist. And then on both sides of the ribbon, there's a little hint of pink. It's a very simple pink. And that pink is actually mirrored in her hair. So her hair, obviously, high pigtails, right? The texture is very similar to that of like Alison Kruk's. So her hair is super duper thin, like barely rooted at all. And I think it was because they wanted to make sure that the hair didn't get completely out of control as it hung down on the sides. But do not take her hair out of pigtails. You're basically going to have a bald doll, just a heads up. The hair has a lot of little stray threads that want to come off it. And if you tug, like I just did on any of the hair, it tends to come out of the rooting pretty easily. So you may actually want to just trim it instead of kind of pulling the hair out because her hair is already so thin as it is. So just be aware of that. Her skin is very white. Her face paint is also very simple. She has a pink lip. She has these really simple drawn on black eyebrows. There is pink smudging around her eyes. It's the smudging that we saw in Series 2. It's not airbrushed. And then she has a bright yellow eye, and she does have some, her eyes are bloodshot. Now, we've seen that on quite a few Living Dead dolls, but hers are there as well. And that is pretty much it for her. Like, when I say that she is one of the most simple dolls that's ever existed, it's true. It's her face paint's simple, her dress is simple, Her hair is simple. She's wearing the Mary Jane shoes, white socks. Um, I dig her though. I do. She's definitely grown on me as the years have gone by. Oh, I forgot to mention too. On her dress, there is an embroidered little flamingo in black. It does disappear a little bit if you're standing far away, but it's there. It's a nice little detail. But that is her. That's Flamingo. All right. Let's just keep going, shall we? All right. Next up, we have Gypsy. Ah, yes. Gypsy was a surprise for me because I remember seeing the picture and be like, oh, yeah, okay, that's cool. Cool doll. But as I got her, I was like, no, this doll's kind of sweet. Like, it's a great design. The outfit's on point. Everything is cool. Yeah, so let's just take a look at her. No shoes. So no socks, no shoes. She's a barefoot doll, which is fine. Her outfit, a lot of people don't realize, is in 4 different pieces, right? So we've got these giant poofy sleeves, right? And there's elastic here. There's elastic partway down, a little bit further down, and then around her wrist. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of elastic on each arm. So it gives it kind of that poofy gypsy feel, right? But these can slide right off of her arm. So so if you did want to take them off, you can. It's not too hard. But right, those are 2 separate pieces. So that's 2. Then we have the kind of bodice of the outfit, which is like a tube top, right? So it's, oh, and also this material is kind of like that same velvet that we saw on Death, but it's just in this turquoise color. So this is a separate piece, you know, this kind of top that she's wearing that's a little bit, I don't know, it's like a halter top. And then there is some Velcro right there in the back, so you can take this off as well. Then the last piece we have is her skirt. So the skirt has got a couple layers to it. I'm going to pull the lace up. So underneath, it's just black cotton, right? Attached to this black cotton, and it's attached around the waistband in the front, and it is attached down the seam in the back, so you can't pull it completely up. We've seen that a lot on Living Dead dolls. Yeah, so there's the skirt there. Where do I want to go next? Ah, yes. So around her waist is kind of this black material with a little bit of gold sparkle into it. And it looks like it might be a separate piece because there's a little tie that hangs down in the back that kind of mirrors her scarf on her head. But it is just permanently attached to the skirt, so you cannot remove that. You can untie it if you want, and you're going to need to untie it if you want to take the skirt off because there's Velcro underneath, so you'd have to untie it and pull the Velcro and be able to pull it down. But it is definitely permanently on there. It's not a separate piece. So the lace is beautiful, right? This turquoise lace, it's got some great detail on it. I'm just going to kind of give you an up-close look at it. Nicely done, though. Great design. Then we have her headscarf. Again, it is the same material as the little sash around her waist. And this does come off. I'll take it off. So you can take that piece off. It's beautiful. It has a little tie that hangs down on the side. And you can decide where you want to have it hang, you know, which is nice. Her hair is also very thinly rooted because it's pulled back into a long braid that goes down her back. It's just plastic holding it together. There's no ribbon or anything at the bottom. But the braid is really nice, beautiful. It does lay perfectly, so though it's thin, it's not bad. She has some bangs. I've seen a couple of them where their bangs are just out of control. And if you look at mine, actually right now, her bangs are not very even. I could trim that, but I just kind of let it go. Yeah, but that is her hair. And then she's got these amazing giant hoop earrings. Now, she's not the first Living Dead that we've seen that has earrings, but definitely these are the biggest earrings that we've seen. They're pretty cool, and they give her kind of that extra something, I think. She has a really extreme arched eyebrow on her, what is that, left side? There we go. One eye is kind of, it's not really gray. Well, it's a very off-white kind of color, and then one is yellow. She has a red lip, and then she does have the dark smudging, and very much reminiscent of the Series 2 smudging that we saw way back when. But great face paint. She has a little bit of color too around the sides of her lips. She looks dead and haunting. So good job, Gypsy. Great doll, and also people don't realize that she's a great doll. So get out there and get her because she's not that expensive. and you'll love her. She's definitely worth it. So there we go. That's Gypsy. And so obviously my favorite doll of the series is most people's favorite doll of the series, and definitely the one that costs the most if you're actually trying to buy them, I think. And that, well, Death is up there now, I think now as well, but actually that may have changed now that Kiss of Death has come out. But anyways, I digress. Bathory is the last one. Obviously she is based on Elizabeth Bathory, the woman that bathed in all the blood of virgins. Scary, scary story. If you haven't heard it, read up on it. But Bathory, so this is Bathory. She is a beautiful, beautiful doll and a scary, scary doll. They did a very, very good job. So one thing I want to mention is if you Google Elizabeth Bathory, a picture is going to come up of her, and it's a painting of her, and they designed this outfit to completely match this painting, which I thought was awesome. Good job to really stick to the truth of the story, which I loved. But yeah, so let's take a look at this crazy, crazy outfit that she's wearing. We'll start with the boots. She has the Living Dead Doll's witchy boots that we've seen a million times before. And she does have socks, which I love. And they're white. They're a little short, so they stick down there. Then she's got this dress, and this is a different kind of. This is like full-on velvet, different than the material that's on Death and Gypsy. It feels like it's got a little more. God, what do I say? Like crunch to it. Like it's going to hold its shape a little bit better. So it's just definitely a different kind of material. But all of the maroon there is that kind of velvet feeling. Then she has this satin piece on the front, and this piece is separate. So the velvet kind of goes all the way around, right? And then this piece here is tacked right along the front here. And then there's a tack right here and right here. There's a little bit of lace that goes down both sides. There you go. And then she's got the blood painting that drips down the front, right? So that's the bottom of the dress. That same velvet. Oh, and this is all sewn together. It's all one piece with the exception of the neck piece, which I'll get to in just a minute. But so there we go. That's that. Then she has, and underneath this, there is a little bit, there we go, a little bit of black tulle just to help her get a little bit more poof in the dress so that it can, be large and stay out there. So then she's got a little bit of tulle that comes around her arms. It is sewn onto the dress. Again, there's a little bit of a gold detail around her wrist. Again, that same maroon velour. Her hands do have blood paint on them as well. So there's blood on pretty much every inch of the doll that is visible. There's some blood on the tulle of the arms as well, the poof. And then the front of the bodice does have a little bit of little couple beads that go down there. A nice little kind of ribbon detail down the front as well. Then the only other piece to mention really is this high collar. And this high collar is, feels like kind of a thick cotton. And they've done a lot of kind of jerry rigging with the sewing to get it to stay upright. Right? And then this thick piece over top of it is a lace detail, and then there's a little bit of kind of lace detail that goes around the side of it as well. It is drenched in blood as well, but it's a cool piece. And what else is interesting is in the back there is Velcro, so you can take this piece off of her if you wanted to. But that is the high collar. Oh, also around the top of the collar, you're going to see a couple little beads that match the beading on the front of her dress as well. So where this doll is really awesome, in my opinion, obviously, is the blood. But she's got great hair. It's very, very thinly rooted because it's in an updo. But it's a beautiful, beautiful hairstyle, I think, for the Living Dead doll. But it's in this really tight, hardcore bun on the top of her head. And then she's got a couple little pieces of curly cues that hang on either side. There is so much blood in the hair of this doll that it's kind of rock hard. It's not going anywhere. So even if you did want to take her hair down, it would just be plastered there because of the paint. So that same blood drips all the way down her face, right? And that's frickin' awesome. She looks great. She looks crazed. She has a red pupil with the whites of her eyes are black, and then there is black airbrushing around her eyes to make her look really haunting, and then she has kind of a brownish eyebrow. It's pretty simple face paint, but it should be because of all of the blood detail that's coming down around her face. So that is Bathory. That's pretty much it. Again, if you haven't read the story of Elizabeth Bathory, check it out. She's terrifying. But that is it. That's Series 15. Again, probably not one of the most popular series that are out there, but still very, very cool dolls. Because Living Dead dolls, all Living Dead dolls are awesome in my opinion. Yeah, there we go. That is Series 15. So thanks so much for watching. Again, come, probably Wednesday or so, I should have my video for Series 29 that's being shipped to me by Mezco Toys, which I'm very excited about. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.
I drank 15 beers. That's a whole lot of brew in one night.